What is up, my friends? Welcome back to episode 3 of Chris Talks. I'm so happy to have you back. Thank you so very much for your reception on the first two episodes. It's been a really fun journey so far, talking about some of the topics within the music industry that don't necessarily relate to, the art of making music. But I also do want to throw in the topics about actually making music, and those are equally as important as the ones talking about the business side of music or the philosophical side of music and all the things like that. Before we really get started, I want to point you to my newest guide called the Composer's Toolkit. And if you are a beginning composer and you're not really sure what you need to get started, this will be like the perfect guide for you because I kind of walk through the bare essentials you need to really get started producing music on your computer. Technology is just so accessible nowadays and more affordable than ever. So I really hope that this guide can help you. It's the first link in the description box if you are interested in really getting up and running with your compositions. I think this will really help you, and it's totally free. So if you check it out, I hope it will help you. So today's topic is all about preventing writer's block. So we're talking about the art of making music, but also not just making music itself, but actually going through the actual hurdles and making sure we actually write music on while staying motivated and positive and keeping our workflow going. And I'm going to be sharing this out of personal experience because, for me personally, I have experienced writer's block quite a few times. And I feel like, all of us have at some point. But it's really something that's unavoidable, I think. Like any creative job or any creative work, there are moments of just unstoppable creativity and you feel like nothing can stop you and you feel like everything's coming so easily. And those are the best feelings ever, right? But there are also moments where you ask yourself, why am I doing this? And, you know, am I going to feel this way forever? This feels terrible. Like I can't actually get my ideas out. I don't know what to do. And for me, what I found really, really helpful is a couple things actually. Number one, actually taking a break. As much as we want to keep on working and just get the ideas out, one of the best things we can do is really to take a break and step outside of our work environment, especially like our home studio space, as a lot of us are working in those kind of areas. Um, this will not only give your mind a break, but it will also help you remove yourself from the physical setting of your work environment. And that will force your brain to kind of think in a slightly different direction. Like if you think about when you drive to work or if you drive to errands, right? If you take the same path every single time going to a single destination, your brain starts to work on autopilot. You know what I mean? So it's like the pathways have already been created in your neural network. And so you don't really have to think very much. And so that means the route you take, the decisions you make are probably going to be very similar day in and day out if you continue to take that same route. But if you take a slightly different direction, maybe there's a lot of traffic that one day and you have to take a detour, then naturally you're going to pay more attention, you're going to be more alert, and you're probably going to make slightly different decisions in your day depending on how you're feeling and all that, just because you took a slightly different route on your way to your destination. And I think this is no exception when it comes to making music, actually. So, when we're working, we have a workflow set up, our ideas tend to come, and then suddenly we hit this block of, oh, I don't know what to do next. And when that feeling of, oh, this is just too much, I can't do this, like, why am I doing this? When those moments start to come, I find that just even walking around my room or just getting outside, like even for 15, 20 minutes and just getting some fresh air, removing yourself from your work environment is one of the best things you can do. And you'll feel really refreshed. Like take your mind off of music, take your mind off of whatever work you're doing, and just give yourself a chance to recuperate and come back in with an objective mindset. And that's really, really important. So that's one thing I like to do. I like to remove myself from my physical environment that I'm usually in, and basically refresh my mind in a different way. The second thing I like to do is listen to different music. Actually like to take a break from creating, and I'll actually go into consumption mode a little bit. So I might even listen to songs in a very similar style to what I'm working on. Maybe I'm lacking ideas, right? And writer's block is all about that. So maybe I'm lacking ideas and I feel like I don't know what to do next. So then I'll think about some songs or pieces that are similar in a very similar style to what I'm doing. And then I will maybe put some headphones on and listen to those for a few minutes. Just relax, take some time and just go away from the mindset of working and go into consumption mode instead. And so you'll start to find yourself coming up with ideas that maybe you hadn't considered before you took a break. And that's another thing that's really really cool to do. So those are kind of like my main two things that I like to do when it comes to avoiding writer's block, or at least getting out of the rut, the mental hurdle that a lot of us can run into when it comes to that type of thing when we're being creative and suddenly we run out of ideas. Number one, just make sure you actually step away from your actual work environment and um, you know, go somewhere else, even if it's for 15, 20 minutes. Give yourself a chance for your brain to reorient itself, develop a sense of objectivity again, and then come back and resume what you were doing. And the second thing is you can actually listen to music in a similar genre, or just go into consumption mode for a little bit and listen critically to see what those things are doing, and maybe those can give you some ideas if you're feeling like you've run out of stuff to do, if you're not really sure where to go next. Listening to other sources can be very very helpful. So those are kind of like two things I personally like to do to get out of writer's block and even avoid writer's block in the first place. When I'm working on something and I feel like, oh, I'm starting to run out of ideas here, before I actually hit that moment of, oh, I feel stuck, I don't know what to do next, I'll actually walk around my room and just kind of shake out my body, shake out my head, give myself a chance to breathe, and give myself an opportunity to really just reorient myself. And I think that's really, really crucial for all of us as creatives. Because if we don't, then we can start to feel like it's a chore, and it starts to actually feel like a job. And then over time, it can actually lead to not hatred, but like we start to cringe at the thought of having to do this day in and day out. And so I always admire people who actually do production music and library music for a living, because they actually have to write music for a living. They have to meet like a quota of however many tracks for this library, or people writing for sync and all that stuff. They have to actually keep on outputting on a consistent basis. And that is amazing. If you can keep on doing that and stay motivated day in and day out, that is an absolutely incredible skill to have, something I don't have. I personally can only really write music that I feel 100% passionate about. Because if I don't, then I know that my heart's not really into it and it doesn't really feel the same. But then in the same vein, like those people have to write because, their family depends on it, or they have to support themselves. So for people like me who like to write only when inspiration strikes, then I have to find other ways of monetizing my skills. And in that case, I do teaching, I do orchestration, I do freelance arranging, things like that. And everyone has their own ways, but as creators, we're all working in music. And if we want to avoid getting stuck and feeling burnt out, then I think these two things can really help us to avoid that feeling. And I hope that makes sense. So this is a pretty sensitive topic for a lot of us, but I feel like it's something that can be addressed and can be avoided. So I hope these tips helped you. So I'm curious, like, as a musician and a composer yourself, do you feel like you experience writer's block? Do you feel burnt out at times? And how do you personally deal with those situations? Or do you kind of just, let it pass? Or do you even like continue to go on and try to knock out those ideas even when your brain is feeling drained? I'd love to know. And yeah, just let me know how you feel in that regard, because I'm definitely interested to know. And before you go, I want to once again give you my composer's toolkit. It's an absolutely free guide if you're just getting into orchestral composition, or even if you're just doing music production in general and you kind of want something to help you get started in writing music, and be on the way to you know uh, basically write music without any hurdles. Then this free guide will be exactly what you're looking for, because I'll tell you exactly what you need to get started, and you can always upgrade and purchase more stuff from there. But to actually get started, I think this is a good starting point. So thank you so very much for watching. I do appreciate it, and I'll catch you next week in another video. Take care, everybody. Bye bye.